Hi guys, welcome back. I hope you're well. You may have already seen this, but today I am going to be doing a live interview on Sky TV about the social distancing measures that are going against disabled people, with disabled bays being blocked off or access being obstructed, toilets being closed, that kind of thing. I believe that this is one of the first interviews on this subject in the press in the UK, so I do feel a little bit of pressure to get it right, but hopefully we can get the message across and we will be listened to.
So Jem, getting ready for your interview on Sky. How are you feeling?
Really nervous.
Got some notes going, got the news on. They just said the vlogger Jem Hubbard. Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Oh my god, I can't tell you. I think I am more nervous than when I did my TED talk right now. I can feel myself.
Don't, darling, just relax. You're just having a conversation. I was just going to ask you some questions, like in a conversation with anyone.
They just mentioned me. Did we say that? I'm so nervous, I forgot.
They just mentioned you on Sky.
Yeah, they just said, and coming up we have vlogger Jem Hubbard.
Just sitting down, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Which angle do you think's better? Yeah, just so.
With a coalition, see, when I take a breath, I think I'm thinking, but I'm not. I'm just going.
Come on. All right.
With a coalition of campaigners and charities. Yeah, I've got a little notification from you. Would like to add you on Skype. Yeah, do you want me to answer it?
Experience.
Okay, I'll hang up here.
So for parents, it has been a really difficult time. Family relationships have come under some quite... Shall I call you back or should we keep you up? It's up to you.
No, you can keep me on because we're here. I don't want it to go wrong.
Okay, cool.
How does it look, the angle and everything?
Yeah,
is
so
that
just need to...
a bit closer?
stand up. Is it possible to move the camera a bit?
Yeah.
Now, come on, Ash, now, you're going to have to explain this one to me. What is going on the fourth clip? Actually, from that angle, that question's about who we are and about how we live and how we can connect with each other.
You get to see the weather.
It's looking largely dry and sunny across many areas of the UK now.
Good morning, Jem. It's the gallery at Sky News.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
Really good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're very well, thank you. We'll try not to keep you much longer.
Okay.
Neil will just sort of welcome back and do the one top story, and then we'll come straight to you if that's all right. So I anticipate about another 3 minutes, and we'll get straight to you.
Thank you. Do you know what his opening question is?
Do you know, I don't, but I think it'll be something fairly generic.
Okay.
Don't worry, he's not going to give you a savaging and a kicking, so don't worry, just relax.
Okay,
You're
thank you.
You're in good hands,
Okay.
don't worry.
Okay, thank you so much.
Stay right where you are because the shot looks really lovely where you are. So if you don't move too far, it'll look brilliant.
Okay, great.
We won't be very long at all, and it'll be Neil Patterson that you're chatting to.
Thank you so much.
No, don't worry. Thanks, Jem. Not long at all.
Oh, it takes me back to mid-channel 4 days.
Yeah.
God, I'm just watching the adverts right now.
Sensation.
It's gone 8:30 on Thursday, the 30th of July. Welcome back to the programme. The Health Secretary there. Now, over the next few days, across Britain, millions of people will end shielding due to medical conditions and disabilities. Since months now, staying at home, trying to help prevent the spread of coronavirus. Disability campaigners are concerned that these so-called new normal, queuing, new town centre alerts will leave them excluded. We're joined now by the disability lifestyle vlogger, Jem Hubbard. Jem, lovely to see you this morning. Before we kind of talk more generally, I just wanted to ask you about your own experience of lockdown. I mean, how has it been for you? Have you been able to get out and about at all or as much as you'd want?
I have been very fortunate. I haven't had to shield. I've just had to follow the government guidelines that everybody else has been following. I've been very fortunate that I've been able to carry on vlogging on my YouTube channel, and also I've had the joy of homeschooling as well. I have been out on a few occasions, and every time that I go out I have unfortunately been met by barriers due to the social distancing measures that have been put in place.
Well, tell us a little bit about those barriers. I can understand, we mentioned it in the introduction, you know, the problems of having to queue for an extended period outside a shop might have on people, but I'm sure there are more problems out there that people like me have not even thought about, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, on my first trip out, I needed a toaster, and the first shop that I went to, all of the disabled bays were completely taped off without an alternative. So my only option was to come straight back home. I need disabled bays. Not only are they closer to the store, they're also wide enough so that I can open my door to get my wheelchair up next to the car door and transfer into my wheelchair. So then we tried another shop, a large out-of-town electronic retailer, and there was a big queue outside, and at the time I was suffering from a urine infection, which is quite common among people with spinal cord injuries. I went up and I asked the person at the front who was you know, looking after the queue, if disabled people had to queue, and they said yes. So I went to the back of the queue. We were queuing for about 20 minutes, and it looked like there was probably another 20 minutes to go, and I thought, you know, I'm not going to make it. So I knew exactly what I needed. I knew exactly where to go in the store. So I went up, I asked if I could speak to the manager. I said, look, this is the problem. Please, can I just go in, get what I need, and come out and skip the line? And he said point blankly, no. And he said it would upset the other people in the customers. But what I'd like to put it to you is, would you be upset to see a disabled person skipping the line, or would you be more upset to see a grown woman wet herself in the queue? So we had no alternative again but to come home empty-handed.
That is a remarkable story, and one imagines if it has been happening to you, then it will have happened to tens of thousands of other people. I mean, here is the thing. I speak as an able-bodied person, so please, if I'm wrong, correct me immediately. But the past few years, it appeared that we had made some significant steps towards the level of accessibility that people like you were calling for, were demanding.
Yes, so I have been disabled 26 years on the 1st of August. So I know what it was like in the 90s, and I have seen changes, and things are becoming more accessible to people with a wide range of disabilities, and I feel like through my work and lots of work on social media that other people are doing, we are raising a lot more awareness. But we have fought for 30, 40 years for these things to be put into place, and for them to be whipped out from under us in under 4 months is so soul destroying. I'm having reports of people who are really suffering with depression and anxiety, and from my experiences it has really put me off going out, because every single time, and I'm not elaborating here, every single time there is some sort of barrier that I face, and so do many other disabled people.
And of course, we all need to bear in mind the fact that disabled people seem to have been disproportionately hit by COVID-19 itself. I mean, the ONS figures are remarkable. That working age disabled women more than 11 times more likely to die from COVID-19 than their peers.
Yes, exactly, and I have been working with Scope, who have launched their We Won't Be Forgotten campaign, where they are calling for the government to not forget people with disabilities. They are sending out an open letter to the government.
Well, Jim, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Give us the name of your YouTube channel just before we go.
It's Wheelsnoheels.
Fantastic. Fantastic name, that. Love it to bits. Jem Hubbard, lovely to speak to you this morning. Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
with us. Now, along with holidays abroad.
Brilliant, you're all clear, Jem. That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll...
Honestly, absolutely brilliant, and we must get you back on the programme again.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. I will talk to the boss and we'll get you back on. And listen, thank you again and have a lovely day.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Thank you very much. Bye now.
In bucolic ecstasy there out in the countryside.
I am shaking.
I was actually shaking. I went blank.
I really hope I did a good job.
Well, they
It
were
was
happy.
so short.
Yeah, it's always going to be
So
short.
much more to say.
Yeah. That's why you just got to be kind of short and to the point. You can get more stuff in, I guess.
Oh, it was so lovely that he asked me my YouTube channel name
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
How nice was that?
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, I feel really emotional.
That's brilliant, darling. Yeah, you did really well. I'm so proud.
Thank you.
Cry.
You silly Billy. Like you when I did my TED talk.
Can't help it.
Oh, that's sweet. Thanks, darling. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wheelchair users saying lockdown has destroyed their access to shops because what's happened is that the blue badge parking bays are cordoned off to make room for coronavirus queues, and no one's given this enough thought. Jem Hubbard is a 34-year-old wheelchair user from Brighton. She says any concerns over accessibility have gone completely out of the window since the pandemic began. A couple of weeks ago, after months of staying indoors, Jem was excited to get back to the shops, but once she arrived in her city centre, she discovered that all the parking spaces reserved for disabled people had been blocked off to make space for socially distant queuing. Temporary barriers and red tape had been put up to extend the pavement. Not only was there nowhere for Jem to park, but those barriers were also blocking the dropped curbs, so she wouldn't have been able to get to the shops even if she had found a space. What's more, Jem says she's been physically unable to enter stores in her wheelchair because they put these hand sanitizer stations directly in front of the doorways, and that's left Jem feeling very frustrated. As you can imagine, she joins me now. Hello to you.
Hi, Jeremy.
It's a great chance for us to hear from others who use wheelchairs to see whether this is common. But I know you've got a YouTube site called Wheelsnoheels. What a strange situation we're in.
It's awful. Yes, I can't believe that we are facing these sort of adversities in 2020 after we've fought so hard for our rights. To have them just whipped away within a couple of months is just so disheartening, so depressing. It's really, really bad.
And you were disabled in the 90s, is that right? So you've seen quite a few years of society working out what it has to do.
Yes, I have. I have been disabled since the age of 9 in 1995, and things were pretty terrible back then, but slowly you kind of see a few changes. But bear in mind, these changes have taken years for us to fight for and to campaign for, and so much effort and time has gone into getting this slightest change made. But then again, just to have it whipped away from us is terrible.
So you were out, I think, buying a toaster. Was that when you discovered what had happened?
My toaster broke, so I needed to go and get a new one. I went to one store and all of the disabled bays were completely taped off. There wasn't even an option to park anywhere else. I asked a member of staff, is there any alternative? And no, they couldn't even work out or even sort of try and help me and try and make an alternative. So we just had to come home. On the second example, I had problems queuing in the shop, but they did have half of the disabled bays taped off and then the other half were free. And then again in another city centre, all of the disabled bays completely taped off as well.
And that's because that's I suppose the space out the door naturally leads to the disabled bay for the obvious reason that they're in the most convenient place. So when they decide to cordon space off for a queue, they just stick it there.
Yes, yes. I think it's disgusting. Absolutely no thought has been given to their disabled customers, and if they were deemed important enough to be there in the first place, then why all of a sudden are they not important enough to be there now? Or why haven't reasonable adjustments been made? Or why hasn't a queuing system been made in a different area?
I heard also another account of what happened to you in Claire's Accessories. What was that?
Oh yes, my daughter wanted to go in there to spend her pocket money, and it's a very difficult store to get around anyway. When I spoke about it on social media, lots of my followers are saying I don't even bother going in there, and quite often I will wait outside, but my daughter wanted me to come in with her, and there was a great big table about a metre or so high with a stand on it, right in the way. So you had to either go to the left or the right of the table, but it was so tight I could hardly get my wheelchair through. And my wheelchair is relatively slim, but there are big power chairs, mobility scooters, walkers, people with visual impairments. It was awful trying to get through there. I was doing 3-point turns, and the staff just stood there and watched me struggle.
That's the bit I find so hard to understand, that people could see that you were in trouble with the hand sanitizer platform or whatever, and they didn't just move it out of the way.
No, not at all. No, and I actually said in a loud voice, oh, well, this isn't very good for disabled people. And then a member, I think it was a member of the public, was just like, no, it's not. And that was it, really.
Do you think what this is shining a light on is that all of those advances which you saw since the 90s were almost regarded as a luxury, and then when we're in a tight spot, we just ditch them all?
Yeah, I think it's terrible. One of the sort of quotes that I live by is that accessibility is a right, it's not a privilege.
Yeah, and we've decided what society has, for some reason, just decided to almost scrub them out.
Yes, exactly. Just whipped it away from us, which it's so disheartening, and it's detrimental on our mental health as well, because every day, Jeremy, I'm getting photos from my followers, sending me photos of pictures of disabled bays being completely taped off for social distancing queuing. So it's not just happening, locally. It's happening not just in the UK, it's actually happening globally as well. And what is very interesting, if people want to have a look on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram, is the pictures that people are sending me. Not one photo has a line of people queuing in the disabled bays.
Oh, that's interesting. So the actual queuing space wasn't needed, but it was taken anyway?
Quite possibly.
Well, thank you very much indeed. I was going to say it's great to speak to you, but it is actually quite worrying and disturbing what's happened here. Appreciate your time, Jem. Thank you.
Yes, Jeremy, and if people do want to help, Scope are sending an open letter to the government to urge them not to forget disabled people, and we need as many signatures as we can. And if they want to sign it, the letter is on the website, the Scope's website.
Thank you. Jem Hubbard, disability lifestyle vlogger whose YouTube is Wheelsnoheels.
Mum says I'm your best critic, and yes, it was great.
How is that affecting you?
Well, I'm a blue badge holder, my wife is, she's more disabled than I am, so basically she can't go into town anymore. I now have used her buggies because the place I have to park the car is too far away to physically walk to go into reach the shops I want to.
Loads of messages.
Oh yeah, it doesn't just stop at like doing your little interview.
Well, so
I don't like the haters. You all want to compromise. It's like, well, our whole life is a compromise.
M5 accent there, and we've got one lane shut.
People are just inconsiderate and just think of themselves.